Alright, so update to the Trix three boxcar kit here. I took the boxcars out, and as you can see, all three of them are completely ruined. The zinc pest issue on Trix boxcars, and specifically only Trix boxcars to my knowledge, extended to all three of these cars, and these three are all completely ruined. So I could divide them into two different kinds of damage. So these two both have very similar damage. The zinc pest, which by the way, zinc pest is an issue where in the die casting, there's some sort of dirt or debris that got inside the die casting, and as a result, it's a thing called zinc pest, where basically die cast, which is usually very strong, will gradually start to expand and then become very brittle. And so what happens is it starts to deform and also expand into really weird shapes. It can cause damage. Not only does it destroy the part itself, but also it can destroy the objects around it due to its expanding properties. So if you have, like in this case, a plastic shell that's holding the bottom in place, if it starts to expand, as you can see, the plastic shell will start to break apart. It is irreversible. You cannot stop it, and you cannot obviously reverse the process. Only way you could do is spot it in time and remove it and replace it with something else. So yeah, I've had this happen to many items, but these three cars probably demonstrate it best. I will attach a few photos of other things that I've seen with zinc rot. I've had it happen to brass locomotive wheels. Obviously, the wheels are not brass, but the engine was brass. Oftentimes, brass engines come with die-cast wheels, and when those expand, you're screwed. That entire engine is worth nothing. Just like these cars are now worth very little money because they're all screwed. So, yeah, it starts to expand. It's irreversible. It becomes very brittle. It starts to crumble. And so, yeah. These two cars are very similar in the sense that, as you can see, during the expanding process, instead of expanding and allowing it to bend around, as you can see, it kind of just, the bottom, let me put this down real quick, the bottom part of the car pushed outwards, and as a result, this entire the bottom bottom part of the plastic obviously broke, and then this allowed the top to start to bend, and this way the plastic shell is not completely broken, but as you can see, it's pretty bad. Also, what's fascinating is these Trix cars are otherwise very well built. I mean, the detail is very nice. There's metal wheels, couplers, and the couplers actually have springs, as you can see here, where the coupler box is actually articulated, sort of like the coupler boxes on Walther's passenger cars. They're articulated coupler boxes, which are really cool. It is just a shame that it's on a die-cast frame that's completely broke. But otherwise, yeah, these cars are really well detailed. The doors, which you can see here, is just gone. They're meant to slide side by side. And the detail, honestly, in here it's really nice. I mean, otherwise, besides the zinc rot, it just kind of really sucks that zinc rot does occur. This one's deformed a little bit differently. As you can see, it deformed a lot on this side, but not on this side. In fact, if I turn this around, you'll see that the zinc rot really, it like rose up here, it went down here, and then it's like all twisted and bent. It is crazy. It looks like it's moldable putty, but you cannot push it or mold it back. If you try pushing it back, it is still metal, and so if you try pushing it back, the brittleness will come in and it'll just snap in half. So it looks very malleable, but it's really not. Like if I push on this too hard, the piece will just break off, because it is very brittle and very, it's still metal. So yeah. And this last one here, as you can see, the frame was actually strong enough to hold the zinc rot in place, and so instead of the zinc rot expanding and breaking the shell in half, instead the thing just kind of created a little bump here, as you can see here. And so the shell, fortunately, on this model is intact. However, this plastic frame piece, as you can see, there's brake rigging just like falling off. As you can see, there's another piece here. But so this car, the shell's actually in good condition, but the underframe is completely broke. But yeah, it's crazy to see how these look. And again, if I try pushing on this, it will not go back in place. It will just break, because it's expanding and also it's brittle. So yeah. Now, in terms of these cars in particular, there's actually really easy to repair these. You just take a frame, an underframe, from either like an AccuRail boxcar or an Athearn Blue Box, maybe even Boxcar, and just simply put the shell over that, and you should be fine. You cannot save the frame, but you could save some of the underbody detail. You could definitely save the trucks. You could save the plastic coupler boxes, although I don't know how much use that will be because they they are after all mounted on a very special mechanism, which I guess is pretty signature to only this car. But yeah, it's still pretty interesting. Overall, I still got this thing for 20 bucks, and I think, you know, for the really, if I could salvage the shells, which are really detailed, I love the walkways. They're really nice. Anyways, if I could salvage the shells, I think it's still a worthwhile cause. I got, you know, in this case, 12 metal wheels, some NEM KD couplers, and some nice boxcar shells. But anyways, yeah, so it's really unfortunate that these the zinc pest occurs. It will inevitably occur to some, you know, engines. It's kind of random ultimately, but for some reason, Trix boxcars in particular seem to really have an issue. In terms of brass engines, there's Hallmark's Illinois Central Railroad 280s. Those seem to have a very common issue with the Zinc Pest, as well as other Hallmark engines and also LMB models. Again, this is not telling you to don't buy those engines, you know, don't buy models from those companies. But I am just saying that those some, you know, very few, but some of those engines from those particular companies seem to have a higher chance of having zinc pest. But that being said, you know, if an engine does have zinc pest, it probably already occurred by now, because, you know, those engines are really old, and these models are also pretty old. You know, as time passes by and if nothing happens, then you're pretty much set. You know, don't expect to buy a brass engine and, like, basically nothing's gonna happen if you have a brass engine right now and if it hasn't rotted yet, you're fine. But that being said, you know, if you do see a Hallmark engine that is claimed, you know, if the seller claims that the engine is not running or shorting out, then that might be a sign of zinc rot. It could also be a sign of other things, but just saying. That is always a possibility. So anyways, hopefully this video is somewhat informative. As I said, I would probably honestly avoid Trix boxcars. Their cabooses are really nice. You know, they made a whole bunch of nice cabooses. Unfortunately, this kit only came with 3 boxcars. And as I said, I've only seen this happen to Trix boxcars. No other models from theirs have this issue. Trix otherwise makes some really nice models. They're really nice. I don't really know how else to explain it. Very detailed, very high quality, good materials, and yeah, but the boxcars kind of suffered, as you can see here. But anyways, hopefully, as I said, you guys learned something. And yeah, I will catch you guys next time. Bye. Try to take the frames off. I took all the under frames off, and we could try prying this out. Oh. There's no structural integrity in this thing at all. I mean, like, you know, just like this thing is just, I could break this with one hand easily. It's like powder.